Everyone has losing streaks from time to time, and they always suck. Bad luck with maps and teammates, inconsistencies in your own play, there are many variables that play a part in causing loser's queue, and while a lot of them seem to be completely outside of our control, I've figured out a ton of different methods to take back control over the outcome of matches and avoid this phenomenon. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. There are 3 different versions of loser's queue, and the first one is caused by external variables, which include anything outside direct control of the player, such as the map, teammates and enemies as well as their hero picks, and the list goes on. For example, imagine you're a ball main and you load into a Circuit Royale match with both your DPS insta-locking Junk and Sim. On the other side, everyone seems to know how to play a poke comp, picking characters like Sigma, Widow, and Zen. Needless to say, you and your team get stomped despite everyone's rank being perfectly balanced, as the matchmaker simply can't account for the interactions between maps and hero pools. Wow. Thanks Blizzard, that was so much fun! Situations like this suck, and unfortunately, they're bound to happen from time to time as that's simply how probability works, so all we can do is accept them and move on, right? Actually? No! Think of all the variables as puzzle pieces that are randomly drawn from a pool full of different shapes every time a match is created. Depending on the luck of the draw, forming a cohesive unit may be a simple task, or an impossible one. Every player in the match gets to control the shape of their own piece, and so a team may try different combinations to find the best possible one for the situation. However, this type of coordination is unfortunately very hard to come by, meaning that the only variable you can truly control is your own piece. That might not sound like much, but it actually gives you much more leverage than you would expect. This is because your decision has a ripple effect across all other pieces, and the recent OpenQ 6v6 mode is a great example of that. Being a top 500 player on all roles, I initially assumed that the best way to climb to my goal of GM5 in this format was to pick the character with the most carry potential for each map, which usually meant going tank to dictate the flow of the game and enable my team to succeed. However, despite performing like a smurf in all matches I played, I wasn't really moving in rank. How is that possible? Well, the wins I was getting were all really easy, but the losses felt impossible to carry, with half my team playing like plats in a master's lobby. This caused me to enter a loop of rotating roles between tank, DPS and support based on what my last bad experience was, desperately trying to plug all the holes in the sinking ship I was in and failing miserably. I crashed out. Struggling on a mode I should excel at made me lash out at my teammates as a way to cope with my own shortcomings, and I got silenced in the process. With no one else to blame but myself, I smiled, thankful for this deserved punishment that set me in the right path again. As in the next few days, I speedran all the way to my goal with an 83% win rate and a 10-game win streak to end the grind. So, what caused such a drastic change? It's quite simple actually. Without the ability to communicate, I was forced to look solely at what I could do and control, and with that, I became aware of the ripple effects of my hero picks. Rather than forcing my teammates to work around me and hoping they had the hero pool and knowledge to do so, I flexed around them instead, being the glue that held my team together each match. Essentially, your degree of flexibility can either exacerbate or diminish the effects randomness has in your games, and by misusing my ability to flex, I initially forced a lot of master players to play characters they were plat with. With all this being said, I should mention that flexibility only works if you can actually perform the role that is being asked of you. I can play Genji into characters like Moira because I'm experienced and skilled enough to handle the matchup, and I can swap from Ball to Orisa to counter Mauga because I'm good enough at her to put into practice the advantage she has over him. Lots of players fail at the counter swap game because they're only good at identifying the issue at hand, and those that don't swap can also run into issues if they can't adapt their playstyle. The second version of loser's queue is caused by emotions, and it is very dangerous as all rational thinking goes through the window. Tilt will not only cause you to lose focus of your own performance and prevent you from learning anything from the session, but it can even make you unable to stop queuing until you get your rank back. Something that simply won't happen when you are playing like trash, and thus means the situation will snowball out of control as you lose match after match, potentially even developing bad habits considering all the time spent making terrible plays. These cycles are so vicious that it's almost impossible to stop them midway through, so external factors like time need to do the heavy lifting to force the machine to come to a halt. Emotions aren't inherently good or bad though, and it's possible for you to process them in a healthy way, such as by turning frustration from a duel you keep losing into extra focus so you can come out on top in the next encounter. However, this is a very volatile approach, so the best way to prevent tilt queuing from ever happening is to keep your eyes locked in on the most important objective in ranked: improvements. Ranking up is a consequence of getting better, and to do so you need to look at your own gameplay, set clear goals to work on, and put in quality practice time. For example, if I'm working on my positioning, I'll use objective metrics to judge whether the angles I'm taking are good or bad, regardless of outcome. It doesn't matter if I miss all my shots and lose the fight after taking the correct position, as I succeeded in the goal I was working on. The opposite also applies, so I shouldn't be happy about winning a fight if I positioned poorly. The great thing about this mindset is that it makes tilting basically impossible, seeing as it reframes success into something you have full control over, which is the effort you put in rather than the outcome of the match. In fact, I can attest to this, as I literally can't remember the last time I tilted when grinding DPS in 5v5, since that's the only queue I'm always pushing to get a new peak on. In contrast, I constantly get annoyed when I do my occasional climbs in other roles and modes, as I already know I can reach the rank I'm aiming for in them. So it's only a matter of when it will happen, and thus I actually care about the outcome of matches, since losses feel like a waste of time. It's crazy just how much mentality affects your experience. The third and last version of loser's queue is caused by internal variables, which includes anything that affects your own performance, such as sleep, exercise, diet, mental state, etc. Basically, everything that plays a part in real-life sports is also extremely important for video games. Being internal variables, you would expect to have a lot of control over them, and that's indeed the case. Leading a healthy life will translate to better performance during matches, but it won't give you perfect consistency. Some days are simply worse than others. There have been times when I've logged on to play the game and felt extremely good from the get-go, and others that simply didn't click even after warming up for half an hour. The important thing here is to be consistent about your habits, not about your performance. When I check all the boxes, most of my gaming sessions are great. All the times I slack off and decide to queue for long hours, I get tired and that affects my gameplay, making me lose more often and thus bringing down my mood, which once again impacts how well I'm playing. Don't fall into the hands of laziness. Stay disciplined. Climbing the ranked ladder is a slow process, while dropping is a much faster one. A trick that helps here is to take short breaks between every match, as that will give you time to process how you're feeling before queuing again. This will help you spot any potential trouble before it hits you, such as a lack of energy or motivation to keep going that day. In conclusion, there is so much stuff within our control that it's not only pointless to worry about what's outside of it, but counterproductive, as we can sabotage both ourselves and our team by focusing on the wrong things. Not only that, as long as we're improving, who cares if we get James Bond as a teammate once? That simply won't matter in the long term unless we let that minuscule portion of a ranked grind poison future matches, turning a statistically insignificant game into a significant loss streak caused by none other than ourselves. Oh, and one more thing, once I reached Master for the first time ever, I was faced with my biggest challenge yet, dealing with high latency. There weren't enough high-ranked players on my native server for me to keep climbing there, so I had to step into a completely new and uncomfortable world if I was going to reach the heights I was aiming for. At first, I thought about giving up, as the task ahead seemed impossible, almost as if the universe was mocking my efforts with this unfair challenge. However, I kept pushing. There were many ups and downs, but by focusing on the positives, I was able to move forward one step at a time. And, after a few months, I reached top 500 for the first time, then the second, and the third, and before I knew it, 180 ms of latency didn't seem so bad anymore. Now, I can proudly say that I'm one of the highest ranking Genji players in the whole game, and while I still dream of playing on low ping, I kind of don't even want that opportunity. Reaching rank 1 would be so much more satisfying if I do it against all odds, wouldn't it? Thank you for watching. I'm Harmless Poke, and I hope that this video can serve as guidance and motivation in your journey, so you too may turn the concept of loser's queue into winner's queue. Good luck out there!